Throughout The Boys' televised history, plenty of villains have stepped into the spotlight and left their mark, but Homelander always remained the show's central antagonist. Having been established as The Boys' main target from the beginning, Homelander only grew more powerful as the series progressed, especially when it came to his influence. Being the face of Vought gave him public support and plenty of corporate protection, but after seizing control of the company and pulling the strings of the US president in Season 5, he became an even bigger problem. Luckily, Homelander did receive a satisfying ending in The Boys' finale, as Billy Butcher brutally murdered him after he lost his powers. This offered a strong payoff to years of storytelling and allowed the main show to wrap up once and for all. However, the franchise is set to continue with 2 new spin-offs, and while it doesn't seem like either will directly follow the events of The Boys' Season 5's ending, it's clear this IP isn't going anywhere anytime soon. As a result, it's only a matter of time before a new project emerges set after the main series, meaning The Boys needs a Homelander replacement. Finding someone as intimidating and captivating as Antony Starr's antagonist certainly won't be easy, but there are a few candidates that could fit the bill. Whether it's familiar enemies that manage to survive or unused faces from the comics, The Boys has a handful of foes that could become the next Homelander, and they all offer something a little bit different. Stan Edgar. Despite not being a Supe, Stan Edgar feels like a fitting replacement for Homelander, as he once held authority over The Boys' main villain. Homelander had ample opportunities to kill Stan, yet he always left him alive since he respected his lack of fear, and also had something to prove to one of his several father figures. Stan's fearless nature is exactly why he was able to control Homelander and the rest of Vought's Supes for so long, and come Season 5's conclusion, he's right back where he started. Having retaken control of Vought, Edgar is already in a great position to become The Boys' next big threat, as he is driven predominantly by capitalism and profit. He's seen the horrors these Supes are capable of inflicting under the Vought umbrella, yet doesn't seem too eager to change his ways. The businessman may lack the physical strength and unhinged power that made Homelander so terrifying, but he's incredibly calculated, patient, and has much more natural charisma. As a result, Stan is able to manipulate Supes, political figures, and the public much more effectively than Homelander, setting him up as a genuine threat. The fact that he doesn't have a god complex or desire for complete control also makes him more pragmatic than the show's previous villain, which adds depth to the cunning CEO. His ability to play both sides means he may even win over the next wave of heroes, having already worked with Gen V's key Supes, suggesting he has the ability to become one of The Boys' strongest characters, and therefore, a solid Homelander replacement. Jack from Jupiter. Jack from Jupiter is one of the biggest characters from The Boys comics who didn't appear in the show, as he was not only a pretty prominent villain, but also a member of the Seven. Despite this, the only televised version of him we've seen was The Boys' Presence, Diabolical's take on this unique Supe. His unorthodox appearance saw him marketed as an alien in the comics, despite having a similar history to the rest of the Seven and being biologically human. However, this wasn't enough to gain much public interest, leading to him being largely neglected by Vought and his teammates, rendering him a largely unimportant part of the Seven. In the source material, Jack comes across as shallow and morally compromised, like most of the Supes around him, and while he isn't quite as bad as the group's more despicable members, he's far from a good person. Going purely off his comic book counterpart, it's hard to see Jack emerging as a proper substitute for Homelander. He is weaker and generally less interesting, but the TV adaptation changed many aspects of the original characters, meaning it could easily do the same with Jack. By enhancing his superhuman strength and potentially adding another distinct ability that fits his appearance, Jack from Jupiter could easily steal the spotlight and be a real menace in Prime Video's universe. Perhaps his origins could be different, and he may be the start of a new breed of Supes. Alternatively, Vought could have been hiding him away, as he may quietly be more powerful than any Supe they've seen before. Either way, Jack has a distinct design and could easily be utilized more effectively than in the comics, giving him main villain potential. Kate Dunlap. Although she's not a villain currently, Kate Dunlap has lent into her darker side previously, and with full mastery of her powers, she could be a fascinating new foe. In Season 1 of Gen V, she was aligned with the main heroes, but was hiding some sinister secrets that mainly stemmed from other people manipulating her trauma. She flip-flopped back and forth between good and bad before eventually falling down the path of Supe supremacy, which cost Kate her friends and an arm. In Season 4 of The Boys, she even made an appearance where she used her mind control powers on Frenchie to take him into custody, proving she's capable of villainy. Season 2 of Gen V did see her find redemption and reunite with the Godalkin group, where she looks to finally be a true hero. While this may make the idea of her ever becoming the franchise's main threat seem unlikely, she is one of the most impressionable Supes around, meaning she could find herself in a dark place once again. Even if someone else tries to pull the strings, there's nothing to stop Kate from snapping and controlling several strong heroes to do her bidding. With the right mindset, the young Soup could take over Vought and become incredibly powerful. All she has to do is get inside a few people's heads. Her biggest weakness is the fact that she isn't as invulnerable as most Supes, alongside being easily swayed by her friends. Still, if Kate were to put her humanity to one side and focus on a more selfish goal, she would be a hard villain to stop, and one that would be a logical opposition to the next generation of heroes. Homelander's clone. Replacing Homelander.